I've got a great sports betting secret just for you. It's a NFL future bet whose expected return on investment is 15.2%. It concerns the Minnesota Vikings win total in 2020, where the question is, are they going to win over or under 8.5 games this year? I'm Professor MJ, a university statistics professor. Keep watching until the end for this great betting bargain. The 2019 season had mitigated success for the Vikings. They secured the number 6 seed in the NFC before pulling a huge upset win in overtime in New Orleans. The offense completely stalled the following week in San Francisco though. The franchise has not gone through a losing season in 5 years. Head coach Mike Zimmer has really done a good job. Can the team take a forward leap and make it further into the playoffs? The franchise has not made it to the Super Bowl since 1976. Let's preview the 2020 Vikings offense. The starting lineup remains fairly intact with 9 of 11 starters returning. The QB, running back, and tight end positions should provide similar production in 2020. The wide receiver position took a hit with the loss of Stefon Diggs, a very dangerous playmaker. He was among the best in contested catches. Acquiring a borderline starter like Tajay Sharp won't be enough to replace him. So let's hope Justin Jefferson can have an impact right away as a rookie. On the offensive line, Garrett Bradbury and Brian O'Neill may take a leap given their young age. However, Josh Klein leaving the team is hardly good news. Accordingly, I expect Minnesota's offense to fall a little bit. Offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski left the team to take over as Cleveland's head coach. But the system will remain the same under new offensive coordinator Gary Kubiak. The latter oversaw the offense from the coach's box last year, so the transition should not be too difficult this year. In 2019, the Vikings offense scored the 8th most points in the league, and I predict this year's ranking to lie between the 10th and 16th spot. Let's take a look at the 2020 Vikings defense. Replacing Linval Joseph with Michael Pierce is a small gain for this Vikings defense. That's about it for the good news for this unit. Stud pass rusher Everson Griffin seems destined to leave the team, and one of their main backups, Stephen Weatherly, signed with the Carolina Panthers. At linebacker, I don't mean to be a party pooper, but KENDRICKS is very unlikely to match his 2019 performance. He had been an average linebacker for 4 years. I doubt the switch suddenly went on and that he will keep being a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. Last year's top 3 cornerbacks are gone, as well as 2 backups at the safety position. And as of now, the team has not signed any free agent to replace them. And this is not a surprise, considering the bad cap situation the team is in. They drafted a few guys, including Jeff GLAONEY, late in the first round, but their impact remains to be seen. Now, many new faces on defense, plus a drop in talent, invariably equals a big downgrade. The team allowed the 5th fewest points in the league last year. They'll be lucky if they finish above average in 2020. Will the Vikings win over or under 8.5 games this year? I've decided to answer this question after simulating the 2020 NFL season 1 million times. Now, how did I simulate each of those games? Simply by taking a look at betonline.ag's point spreads. So for example, in the season opener, the Houston Texans are 9.5 point underdogs at the Kansas City Chiefs. In terms of probabilities, that means the Chiefs hold an 81.1% chance of winning, while Houston has an 18.9% chance of winning. So with the use of a statistical software, I simulated each of the regular season games by following those win probabilities. Now here's what I found about the Minnesota Vikings. In 63.1% of the cases, they won 9 games or more, and in the remaining 36.9% of the simulated years, they won 8 games or less. Now, does that mean we should bet the over? Let's look at the odds from many sports books. Well, as a matter of fact, I looked at the odds from 13 well-known online bookies. And now the best line I found on the over is minus 121 at DraftKings, while the highest odds on the under turned out to be plus 139 at Pinnacle Sports. Now, what is the return on investment on the over and the under? The ROI on the over turns out to be plus 15.2%, which is great, while the ROI on the under is negative 11.8%. So, based on the evidence, I recommend betting the over for the Minnesota Vikings. So this 15.2% ROI corresponds to the 17th highest in the NFL among the team's 32 teams. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about the team whose ROI is 16th, the Dallas Cowboys. Now this ROI is entirely based on numbers. Well, it's based on BetOnline's point spreads. Now when deciding on which teams to bet and whether I'm going to bet the over or the under, I also take into account my own analysis of the situation. Now, if someone pointed a gun at my head and forcing me to bet the Minnesota Vikings, I agree that I would bet the over here. But I have to tell you that it's only going to be a small play for me, and I'm only going to bet if I can get odds that are minus 125 or better. By the way, that's the equivalent of 1.80 in decimal format. There are many better bargains available out there, so this is not a huge play for me. But as usual, I leave it up to you to make your own decisions. So I hope you found this video informative. A big thank you for watching. I'm Professor MJ and I teach statistics at a Canadian university. I hope to see you in another video with more betting tips on NFL regular season wins. Bye bye.